I did.
I'm not chewing tobacco. I'm eating some rich crackers.
You ready?
Okay. Mr. Burkett, we're ready to start.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, because we have more than just Ms. Jackson, I believe, in attendance. The Escambia County Board of Education is now being called to order. We're going to ask that you plan now to stand and salute and say the pledge at this time, and then we will move forward with our meeting. Salute.
I pledge allegiance to the
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
justice.
Thank you for that, for sharing that with me. As we move forward, let me now share with you our mission statement. The mission statement of the Escambia County School System is to provide engaging and comprehensive instructional programs that will enable our students to graduate college and are career ready. Another way of saying that we are preparing our students for life. And now the Escambia County Board of Education meeting is now in order. I will take this opportunity and privilege and pleasure to greet you again, all of you today, and thank you for your presence. And surely we thank you for your input, and of course your every action that helps to promote and perpetuate the upward building of our school system. At this time, we're going to ask Mr. Knott to present to us a greetings and then provide for us the information necessary for our agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Burkett. We have several items on the agenda today that I will be presenting a report to the board as far as our back to school and some other items. I have prepared an agenda for the board, provided it to all the board members in advance of the meeting, and I ask now that the board accept the agenda as presented.
We have a motion to accept the agenda as it has been prepared and presented. Can I get a motion and a second to approve?
Mike Edwards, so moved.
Cindy Jackson, second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Is there any further discussion? There being none, those who favor?
Aye.
Those who oppose? Those who favor have now so ordered, and thank you so much for that. With the agenda that is presently before you in use, we're going to be moving forward now to item number 1, which is the approval of the minutes. If you can look at your agenda now, you'll note that we have 4 minutes. We have a minute for July 6, 2020, July 15, 2020, July 23rd, 2020, July 31st, 2020. I hope that you've had an opportunity to peruse each one of those minutes. And now I'm going to ask you to approve all of these minutes at the same time.
Danny Benjamin, so moved.
Cindy Jackson, second.
We have a motion second to approve all 4 minutes at the same time from the Honorable Danny Benjamin and then the Honorable Cindy Jackson. Is there any further discussion? There being none, those who favor,
Aye.
those who oppose, those who are favor have now so ordered. Thank you so much for that. All 4 sets of our minutes have been approved for the month of July. Moving on, superintendent's remarks. If you note, our superintendent is slated now to come with remarks. Notice he's really going to be talking to us with remarks on items 1, 2, and 3. So there may be time that we will take some breaks and make ask some questions and make some other discussions. And if necessary, that's what we will do. But at this time, we present to you our superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Grissett. I appreciate everybody in attendance today, and I know we've come and done some of these meetings since the COVID outbreak in person and some virtually. We have this meeting also being live streamed via our YouTube channel. And I appreciate anybody that has tuned in and is watching the board's business at this time. I do want to talk about our back to school. We had, as you can see with the board meetings, we had marathon board meetings in the month of July, getting prepared for our back to school. I think our board has worked hard and been steadfast in providing for all of the plans and resources that we needed to be able to start back to school. Our start back to school has really gone exceptionally well. It, in some respects, has gone better than what we even anticipated it starting out. We knew that going back to school, we were going to have some barriers and some things come up that we were just going to have to work through. We've never had a situation in this country where we're faced with having to make decisions kind of on the fly. And I want to start off by saying thanks and appreciation not only to the board, but to our leaders, our administrators in the schools, their staff, our teachers, our custodians, our bus drivers, CMP workers, everybody that works with us has done double and triple duties to be able to get prepared and to be able to provide for the needs of our communities and our students. We are actually starting out this year operating 2 instructional systems. And in fact, in some regards, maybe 3 before it's over with. We're providing a traditional option, and we're providing a virtual option, and we're providing what we term as a remote option, and that is for any time that students have to be out due to necessarily testing positive for COVID or for having direct exposure to COVID, where they could continue the same instructional process outside of school as they would inside. We have had to already deal with some COVID outbreaks with our with employees. We have also had some students that have had some positive test results with COVID, and we've addressed those. I commend our schools and their staff for addressing those problems and working through those in the manner they did. I think that we have done so in a very quick, concise manner. We've been very transparent with the parents of the students that may or have been identified as being involved, and we're going to continue that process. And I know we're going to have some more to deal with, unfortunately, but I am positive that we will be able to address each and every one of those cases and provide for the best safety that we can. Our school nurses are just doing an exceptional job of making sure that all of our protocols are in place and that we have established systems for identifying and reporting any suspected cases of the COVID-19 and any suspected cases of direct exposure. Our lead nurse, Ms. Stephanie Alaniz, has really done a stellar job taking the leadership role and working with our nurses and our school leaders and making sure those processes are in place. And I commend her and her staff for that. We originally had planned for this past Friday, I think the 14th, to be our deadline date for those for students and parents to be making a decision on whether they were going virtual or traditional. As with any new implementation, we ran into some little problems here and there in implementing it, and we have actually run probably a few days behind in getting the virtual program fully up and running like we wanted it to. So we re-examined yesterday and today and our plans, and we felt like we needed to provide another week for a opt-out option for parents and students to choose whether they want to go with traditional delivery of instruction or virtual delivery instruction. So we've extended that deadline through this Friday, the 21st. Now, after this Friday, we're going to have to close the program, and whatever option the students chose or the parents chose, they'll be bound to stay in that particular program until the end of the 9 weeks. At the end of the 9 weeks, we will have an open enrollment option available. If we have some that are virtual that want to transition back to traditional, they can, and vice versa. And we'll see how all that plays out. But we did provide those options, and we did extend that deadline until this week. I've had several of our parents reach out and express their appreciation for that. And that gives them an opportunity to be able to see exactly how that program operates and making sure that it's the right fit for their family and for their students. We initiated an additional protocol of requiring all schools to do temperature checks as on staff, students, and visitors that are going to enter our schools. We know that that's not a definitive identifier, but it is one of the identifiers, and we want to do whatever we can to make sure that we add every measure of protection that we can. We felt like that this was important that we do that. So that has been implemented since we last talked. We have also asked and required all of the classrooms for traditional schools. They have done seating charts and provided those seating charts to our nurses and our administrators. And we've asked that our students maintain their places in those seating charts. That way, if we do have a case positive, then we'll be able to use those charts to identify where students were in relation to a potential positive COVID-19 patient. And then we can know who needs to go into quarantine or isolation. And that's just one of the ways that we are identifying those students and helping. Football. Doesn't seem like football season with all the COVID, but the Alabama High School Athletic Association has made a firm commitment as of right now that we're going to continue our high school athletics and sports. We have implemented ongoing protocols and requirements through the guidance of the High School Athletic Association for our coaches and for our students. And so we are moving through that. We'll have some games this Friday night. It's the first games coming up. I know WS Neal is playing. Escambia County High School, I'm understanding, is playing. That game had been previously canceled, and I think it's back on now. Flomaton, their game had been canceled, but I think they were still trying to work out something maybe with somebody else. And I'll provide that information out in an email to board members as it becomes available to me. High school football tickets, we will remain, they'll be $7 this year across the board, and that's in line with the football sales tickets across all of the schools in our area. It'll be the same. I do want to report, if you'll recall, last time we met, we talked about the governor's office working to make Alabama broadband connectivity for student program available. That program is now in the process of making that available to our parents and students. That will provide free broadband service to any of our students through the end of December. Now, there is some speculation that there will be another round of benefits coming from the feds. If that happens, they may very well extend that till the end of the year. We'll just have to wait and see what comes up out of that. But we went through a very lengthy webinar with the State Department yesterday. Right after that webinar, I provided all the schools some detailed information for them to share with all of our parents and students, along with a letter that we prepared that will give them the information. That program is actually not handled through the Department of Education. It is handled directly through that broadband connectivity service at the State Department, through the CEP program, or through the eligibility program for that. So that information has been provided, and along with a letter to go to those to each one of our students' families, and we'll have more instructions for that as we get closer. But our internet providers in our areas will be identified, and those parents will receive a voucher, and they'll go to that internet provider to provide that service to them. It will not come through us. The only thing that we ask parents is to make sure the address that we have on file is their correct mailing address, because that's how they are notified. They're notified through mail. They're notified through mail by using the address that is on file. In addition to that, talked about the virtual program, seating charts. We have provided our schools with guidance for athletic events. The High School Athletic Association and State Department and the governor's office, through the health mandates, have identified key things that we have to have in place, such as face masks are required, social distancing was required. I provided that information to all of our schools, and they are providing their individual school-based plans using the guidance that we've given them. And that includes ticket sales, concession stands, and facility capacity, and how to handle our students. And I think all of our high schools are very well prepared to be able to handle whatever comes to them. In addition, I know you saw some information that was provided to our school board through AASB. I have also provided that information to all of our school principals so that they would have all the information at their disposal that they could have. That's pretty well where we're at as far as our back to school and our report on our COVID impact and response. I do want to add one thing, which is item number 4, Mr. Brissett. Alabama State Department of Education notified Mrs. Reed, in fact, that they were going to be able to provide some supplemental funding for a math coach for our elementary students. And that math coach would be somebody that would be in our system. They would actually, AmSty would fund that, but they would actually be kind of on loan to AmSty and working in our system. We made a recommendation for that employee that's on your board agenda. But I did want to say that we feel like that is an excellent addition that is needed, that will provide support to our elementary schools to help increase and boost our math achievement scores. And that's what that's for, so that they can work with our teachers. They'll also be focusing not only on traditional style of instruction, but also working to help our teachers with virtual instruction for students as we go through this COVID-19 year that we're going to have to face. I appreciate and commend Ms. Reed for her work in making sure that we get this in place and make this happen. I think that'll be something that we'll benefit from. Any questions?
I have one on the broadband. Is that just for those virtual students, or is it for all students?
That's a good question. That's a good question. How they determined who was eligible was based on the free and reduced lunch list. Now, I think 2 years ago, went with the C&P program that identified all of our students being eligible for free and reduced lunch. That does not mean, so that said, all of our students will receive that letter because they are receiving the free and reduced, the free lunches program that we have. In the letter they receive, it will tell them that just because you receive this letter does not really mean that you qualify for it. And so they go on to explain that qualification is based on your income. And your income, I think, for that program, if I'm not mistaken, is limited to households earning $48,470. Now, just as someone from the State Department mentioned in our webinar yesterday, we know that there are, the internet providers aren't going to ask you any questions. They're just going to take your voucher. And we know that there are people that are going to receive the voucher that are going to not qualify under the funding requirements, but take advantage of the free service. We're not going to police that. That's not going to be our role to do that. But I do encourage our parents to follow by and abide by the guidelines that's set out for the program. It's set out that way to make sure that people in need are actually receiving that service. So does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. And I'll forward the information to all board members that I sent out to our schools on that with the link to get the additional information, so you'll be well versed and have that at hand.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Knott, for your report. I am sure that all of the questions were not answered during this time, but we will remain open so that as other questions come up, we can certainly seek some answers from you for them.
Sure.
Moving on with our action items. Under action item number 1, under Roman number 7, review a monthly financial statement for July 2020. All bank statements have been reconciled through July 31st, 2020. Miss Julie Madden is prepared to take care of that for us. So Miss Madden is coming.
Okay.
Good afternoon. You should have your July 2020 financial statement. We have an ending fund balance and reserve fund balance of 12.21 million. And if you will turn to the last page, you will see that we're at 3.88 months operating reserve. And I did want to point out, at the last board meeting, we talked about 3 different funding sources that we have received for COVID-19 coronavirus response funding. And one of those is the ESSER funds. And that was the first group of money that we received. And to date, we have spent $1.23 million out of that funding source. We also have received the CRF funds, the coronavirus relief funds, and that is broken into 2 different sections. One is health and welfare, and the other is remote learning devices. And to date, we have spent run at $8,095 of that money. Now, that's what we have actually paid out. We have POs, purchase orders out there, money encumbered. We have all types of PPE and Chromebooks on order. So we are expecting to spend much more. We had well over $2 million of additional funding, about $2.7 million. So I wanted to tell you that I know the fund balance went down this month. I know that our number of months of operating reserve is down. But once we get these applications approved at the State Department level, we're going to be able to right now request reimbursement for $1.24 million. So that money will be coming back in, and our goal is to get those applications approved, get that money requested, and get it in here before September 30th. Okay. Any questions?
Thank you, Ms. Madden.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Thank you, board members.
Thank you, Ms. Madden.
Thank you.
Surely we thank Ms. Madden and her staff for continuing to keep us apprised of our finances and to keep us surely on track month by month. Item number 2 under action items is approval of revised 2021 salary schedule. And that you can find that on page 7 in the salary schedule. It's assumed that all of us have had a chance to look at that, have we not?
We have, but I would like for Mr. Knott to elaborate on that.
Okay.
Happy to. If you'll recall, I think it was one of the board meetings in July, we had talked about we were eligible to apply for a grant that had come out to the state, and the legislator had provided some money for a mental health service coordinator for our system. And we have received approval on that grant.
Okay.
That grant was for $40,000 for the year, which is what I reported to the board originally. We developed a job description based on the qualifications required from the State Department and talking with mental health and all of the other entities. And also I've talked with systems across the state to find out, what the salary schedule looked like in different areas, and the length and term of for that particular person. And so what we did is we went with about what we felt like was the average, and we would be competitively priced, so to speak, in this area. And so what we did is we set the salary schedule at $40,877. That is for a 202-day schedule, a 10-month schedule. And that is in line with exactly in line with what the career coach salary schedule is also.
And Mr. Knight, if you would like me to elaborate,
Yeah.
The career coach position, that salary was actually dictated by the state. That salary follows a bachelor's degree teacher's salaries. Now, a teacher's salary is broken out into more steps than what a support person's salary is, but that is what that is based on. This person had to have at least a bachelor's degree. They could be a certificated person. The mental health service coordinator could be a certificated school counselor, or they could be a mental health services provider. And so it could be a support person or it could be a certificated person. So we based it on the same guidelines that the state sent us for the career coach, which is the same type of parameters.
Right.
Support or certificated.
That answer your question?
Okay. Are we all clear now on that?
Yes.
Okay. Now that we've had this clearing explanation, I'm going to ask you for a motion to approve. Can I get a motion and a second to approve?
Mike Edwards, so moved.
Danny Benjamin, second.
We have a motion and a second to approve item number 2, item number 7.2, approval of revised 2020-2021 salary schedule. Are there any further discussions on that? Can I get a motion? I have a motion second to approve. So all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, those who oppose. Those who in favor have so ordered. Thank you so much for that. Moving on. At this point, Superintendent Knott is making a recommendation that we pay the bills. Can I get a motion second to approve?
Motion to approve, Cindy Jackson.
Kevin Holmes.
We have a motion and a second to approve paying the bills. Are there any further discussions on that? There being none, those who favor?
Aye.
Those who oppose? Those who favor have so ordered. I didn't have enough eyes, but I'm sure I'm sure silence gives consent. Okay. Moving on. Item number 2, under which is miscellaneous 8.
Let me see.
That's FY 2021 budget hearing board meeting dates. Mr. Knott, is there anything you need to share with us about that?
Yeah, I think Mrs. Madden and I both want to talk to the board about this, if it's okay with you.
Okay.
We have to have our final budget in by the 15th of September. So as always, we need to do these budget hearings prior to that, where Ms. Madden and her team can get those budgets in. In talking about this and discussion between Ms. Madden and I, what we would like to do was, we thought about doing it on the 14th, but that's just too much of a close bumper. And we would like to do it around the 10th. Isn't that the date we talked about?
We could do either.
10th or the 11th?
Normally, I would have this prepared and have dates on there, but we did have the situation last year where we had a request to have the budget hearings on separate days instead of having both of them on the same day. The groups who requested that did not attend either of those hearings. So this year we're presented with a different circumstance in that we could have a virtual hearing. We've never done that before, but then we've never done a lot of this before. So it does require us to have at least a 4-member board. It does have to be, hearing has to be in a board meeting. So It's at the direction of the board. We can do the first hearing if you would like as a virtual. I can post the documents, and they're very lengthy documents that we have to have for a hearing, but we can post those as a PDF and have them available. We could do the first one as a virtual, but I would like for one of those and probably the second one to be an in-person budget hearing. Then we would need to have a regular board meeting. So if you would like to have it on the 14th, it is doable. We can do that. The budget is due to the State Department on the 15th. It will push us a little bit, but I can scan and email everything to the state and just put the originals in the mail. If you would rather back it up, we can.
Let me kind of share all the information out here so we can make the best decision for all of us. On the 10th of September, we have a AASD meeting. You know, we have a District 1 meeting every year we have. This year, that meeting will be virtual. So
Yes.
you can watch it. You can attend that meeting from the comfort of your home, or, you know, if you want to, we can find a place to have a meeting. That is from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. I would like to see us not push it to the 14th. I would like us to have our budget hearings. We could have them either that same date on the 10th and the board meeting follow, just knowing, guys, that's going to be a long day because we also have that district meeting, but at least we won't have to drive 2 hours to a meeting. Or we could do the budget hearing meetings on the 11th, that Friday. But I would like to I feel like it would be best if we did it either on that Thursday, the 10th, or that Friday, the budget hearings.
I think we need to ask the board, do they want both of them on the same date, or do they want them on separate days?
Okay,
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I guess we really need the board to tell us, do you want both of the hearings on the same day with one in the, toward the morning and one toward the afternoon? Or do you want the hearings on 2 separate days?
Well, we do virtual in the morning, and 4 people attend that, and 4 attend in the afternoon. Then go right into the
When
district one.
would you have?
We have to have a board meeting after those 2 budgets to be able to approve those budgets.
Right.
When were you having your regular board meeting?
I was probably not going to have it until toward the end of the month, but we can schedule that for regular meeting.
Well, that's what I was saying. Didn't know if that was pushing it.
Or we could have a shorter board meeting at the end of this.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go out to lunch someplace and come back and have the records are open.
Yeah. It's up to everybody. I'm going to be here. It's not going to matter to me.
Yeah, we'll be here.
So the basic thing is, do you want to do the two, let's just talk about one thing at a time. Do you want to do the 2 budget hearings on the same day like we used to?
Yes.
Yes, one and one in person.
Right. On the 2 meetings on the same day, we're going to have like a morning virtual and then the evening in person or what?
That's what I would say.
How about an 11 o'clock virtual? I don't think it'll last more than an hour. So, I mean, at the most. So an 11 o'clock virtual, and then maybe a 3 o'clock or 3:30. We want to do it where it's after school. So if anyone at the schools want to come. So we could do a 3:30, an 11 o'clock, a 3:30, and then a 4:30 board meeting to approve it.
Okay.
Does that work?
Well, having it at 4:30 it'll push us to get somewhere to have that District 1 virtual at 6.
We could do it early.
here?
Yeah,
Do it here.
right here.
Do it here?
That's what I was saying. I'll go out to dinner somewhere after the last final board meeting, then come back here and have the virtual. So we wouldn't be leaving and going to, so we just go across the street, 31, Camp 31 or something.
Because the only thing on the actual board meeting will just be approving this,
Yeah.
right?
Unless
Maybe
there's some
there's
other personnel or
personnel
something like that. I mean,
Wouldn't be long, though.
No, should
it'd
be
be
just,
like a-
just real
And
quick.
I do a PowerPoint at the second hearing, and that's why I would prefer you to actually be in person if we could do that
All
one.
right, let's back up a minute for a
Okay.
second. The 10th or the 11th? The 10th is on Thursday, or the 11th is on a Friday. If we do it the 10th, then, we still have that virtual District 1 meeting, which we've done that. I think last time we did, and the time before we did it both. 10th.
The 10th.
Okay, perfect. So is everybody clear on the 10th?
Yes.
Okay, good.
All right, what time?
All right, let's do the first meeting. Do you want to do virtual?
Yes.
And we will live feed that virtual meeting out via a YouTube channel like Mr. Burkett is taking care of now for us, okay? Then our next meeting will be in person for the budget. And then we'll follow that with a short board meeting to approve that.
Okay, so 11 a.m. for the virtual, 3:00 p.m. for the in-person for the second hearing, and then we could follow that with a board meeting, a board meeting to approve at 4, and I would think we would be through by 4:30.
Yes.
And that would give everyone time to grab supper before the district meeting at 6. And you could do it here if you wanted to.
Yeah. Is that okay with everybody?
Sounds
Yep.
good.
Yes.
All right, Miss Madden will pretty all that up real good and get that out in an email to everybody.
Okay.
Thank you.
So that would be all for Thursday, won't it? Okay.
Yeah, but it's-
Okay. Let's go ahead on and give me a motion, a second, to approve that what we've just discussed, so that Miss Madden will know that it's firm.
So move, David.
Second, Mike.
We'll motion second to approve item number 2, fiscal year 2021 budget hearing board meeting dates. Those who are in favor?
Aye.
Those who oppose? Those who favor, so ordered. Thank you so much for that. If you would take a moment and look at your personnel, and then we will be talking about some AASB work, activities after we complete your personnel. So let's take a moment now and look at your personnel. And if you have any set-asides or holdouts, we will recognize those. And if you do not, then of course we'll go ahead and approve the personnel agenda. And then we will talk about some Alabama Association of School Boards activities.
Mr. Chris, is this running all the way through employment down all personnel items?
I'm sorry.
We're looking at all personnel from, all the way through from resignation to
Yes.
all the way down to employment.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Employment change.
Employment change, resignations, retirees,
Reassignment.
yes. Everything that has to do with personnel,
Rehires.
rehires,
All right.
retirees and resignations, and and rehire and anything else that has to do with personnel.
All right.
If you have any holdouts or set asides, just make a note of it. And if you do not, then we're going to go ahead and approve these.
I move we accept personnel recommendations.
Danny Benjamin, I second that.
We have a motion second to approve these personnel recommendations as recommended. Are there any further discussions? There being none, those who favor? Those who oppose? Did I get everybody in favor?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And no opposes. Thank you. So the motion is carried. Mr. Knight is going to share some information with us. As you know, AASB's District 1 director cannot serve us any longer. And so we're going to have to get a new director. We have to offer you all the option if anyone is interested. And if no one is interested in being the director, then we have to we would like, if you know of someone in our district the board want to support, we would want to know that too. Mr. Knott, is there anything that you can share with us about that?
Yeah, just briefly, Mr. Grissett. As you said, Ms. Shannon Colley has been serving the last couple of years as our District 1 director. And I will say I've worked with Shannon quite a bit on different things, and she has really represented our district very well. I think she's done a great job. We have quite a few systems in our district, as you know. They have mailed us, all of us, a nomination form. Any school system in District 1 can make a nomination for someone in their school district. It's been a couple of years, so I don't even remember if we ever made a nomination. We may not have anybody that wants to take that role on. But we, as a board, can make a nomination for somebody from our school board for this position. And if we do that, we need to do that during this board meeting so that I can complete the paperwork. It has to be into AASB's executive director office by September 1. So this would be the last meeting this month that we would have an opportunity to do that. What they will do is they will take any recommendations made, and they will go on a ballot, and each district in October will vote or to choose the candidate of their choice, and then a director would be named. In the event that only one nomination out of District 1 is made, then that will be the director that will be serving for our District 1 area. So I wanted to share that news. And so at this time, Mr. Grissett, I'm going to turn it back over to you. And our board needs to decide, do we have someone that wants to serve that role? Everybody should have gotten this information through AASB. There are some requirements, and, it's a good bit of work that goes into this. But if anybody's interested at this time, Mr. Grissett, maybe we could take a nominations for that.
Mr. Knott.
Yes, sir.
What do you think Shannon would be interested in serving another term? Uh,
She cannot.
Yeah,
She cannot.
right,
She cannot serve another term.
right.
Actually, Escambia County has not had a district director since Mr. A.D. Johnson, board member A.D. Johnson was on the board. He was our last district director we've had. You remember that, Mr. Chairman?
That's right.
So it's been a while since we've had one, but I'm not urging you to do that because it's like Mr. Knott say, it's extra work, and you need to be dedicated if to the cause if you're going to take it on, because you have to function on the district level as well as the state level, and of course that's in addition to your regular school board district work that you normally have to do. But I'm going to recommend that if we are asked to nominate someone that's being recommended by another district, let's just do that unless you have someone in mind that you want to nominate to be recommended. But I would just go on record of supporting someone this year. Does anyone feel different about that?
Sounds good.
Anybody want to serve? Does anybody want to, from our district, want to serve in that role?
Well, we're having. I'm sure we do not, because we're having trouble getting board members from our district to serve on committees. I think Ms. Jackson is serving on a committee right now, which she should be congratulated for. Also, you know that the March conference, you know, is on the agenda. I'm sure some of us are registered for the conference. We have it every year, and if you have not registered and you plan to attend, let us urge you to go ahead and take care of that. And
Mr. Cassett, I believe there's 4 of us that has registered for that conference in October.
Okay. Well, we appreciate, you know, the 4 that are registered for the conference, because this is the same information that the AASB shares every March. And of course, you get 7 hours credit, you know, for taking those courses. But if you feel that you don't need the credit, and you feel that this is a course that you had several times anyway, we can understand in times like these that you may not want to be exposed because of the COVID-19 and all of that, and it's not just a matter of being in the meeting, but it's a matter of the fact that you got to get in and off the elevators and go to the rooms, and you got you can't be social distance from each other and so many other things, and it's just a little bit of a difficult time. But like I told Ms. Jackson, I thought they might have deferred it, but we see that they didn't, and we can't do anything about that but go ahead and go and follow the orders, you know, from AASB. So we just hope everything will go well, and of course, let us continue to keep the torch lit and keep it high and continue to move forward.
I think 4 attending with the circumstances is a good deal. I think we're doing well.
Yeah. Well,
I do too.
if so, I take it, Mr. Cassett, nobody is going to want to be nominated for that role, so we'll just wait to see who the nominees are, and then the board will vote. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes, just wait to see who the nominees are, And if it's someone that our board is favorable and is favorable towards, we will go ahead on and vote for that person and submit that to AASB for Escambia County. And of course, if for any other reasons that we get more knowledge about anything as it relates to that, then we'll just wait now until we find out if there's anything else coming down the pipe to us. That's the best thing we need to do right now.
Okay. All right. All right.
Thank you so much, and we've had a great meeting, and we're listening now for final remarks before we bring the meeting to adjourn. Are there any final remarks, Mr. Knott?
I apologize for that. No, I again, I appreciate everyone for coming to the meeting. I again want to express my deepest appreciation, and I'm just have to take my hat off to our administrators and our teachers and our support staff, our office personnel here. I know for our virtual programs, I know I sent out an email today. Ms. Reed, Mr. Burkett, Ms. Reeves, and several others really took on some leadership roles in getting this virtual program nailed out. That has cost them some 20-hour days, and they've done an excellent job with a great attitude. So I really appreciate that. I think moving forward that we're going to get into a rhythm and be able to work through this year, and hopefully we'll have a resolution of this COVID crisis as soon as possible.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Knott. And with that having been said, this probably is one of our shortest meetings, we've had this year. So thanks to all the board members. And at this point, we're going to go ahead and declare